What's going on, guys? Before we start this, I just want to let you guys know we had a little bit of lag and freezing in the video. I'm very sorry. I couldn't fix it without making it look really, really bad. And we could re-record it, but we just decided together as a group that it wouldn't be as genuine, it wouldn't be as real, and that would come off as fake, and none of us want that. So I'm sorry for any lag in the video. I'm sorry for any freezing, but the audio is the most important part. We all agreed on that. So I really hope you enjoy the interview. I had such a great time. See you guys soon. Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and today I am joined by the masterminds of the Nerd and Nostalgia podcast, as well as the Nightmare Junkhead. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. I am sometimes known as Greg or Greg D, depending on when I'm being introduced.
And I'm the Minister of Sinister, the one and only Genius McGee. That sounds terrible. I'm not the one and only. Well, actually, I think I am the one and only Genius McGee, but it's me.
He's a little full of himself.
So, how you guys doing? How's everything going with quarantine? You guys still kind of, I don't think you're kind of crazy right now with everything, but.
It's always crazy, man.
At this point, every time I'm asked, it's like existing and adapting as much as we can. And I'm not going to lie, we're very fortunate right now here in Kansas City, Missouri. We're actually recording here at our local theater, which is still putting out movies. It's still trying to give that communal experience out that, we as horror genre fans love. And if it wasn't for this,
we'd be doing a lot more.
A lot worse, actually, because...
Yeah, it's crazy because this corona it's been insane. I mean, people are afraid to go to movies and people are afraid to do a lot of things. But the thing about it is, it's when you're afraid, that's the best time for horror. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword,
And I will say also here at Armor, they have been adhering faithfully, wonderfully to being safe, smart, socially distanced in the theaters. Like it's not like we're cramming people in or anything and willy-nilly. It is trying to exist the way we can to bring back some sense of normalcy, but to also be smart about it, to understand if this is the way it is, this is the way it is. I'll wear a mask throughout a movie. That's okay. It makes me feel more dangerous.
Because if I have to wear a mask to go to the movie theater, I will be more than happy to do that, to go to the movie.
What I'm saying, man, if this is what we got to do to make shit happen, this is what we got to do to make shit happen, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Those are the things I miss. I miss going to the theater. I miss going to watch concerts. These are the things that I love to do. So, if I got to wear a mask for this shit to happen, I'm going to wear a mask. It's not rocket science to me.
Exactly. And I wish more people would do that because if they cancel Halloween this year, I'm going to be super fucking pissed.
So. I don't even want to think about that.
Well, I've read somewhere on the interwebs that apparently they've seen people moving stuff into like Spirit of Halloween stores potentially, but we don't know what exactly it is. So is it Spirit of Halloween or is it something else?
Spirit of Halloween. Make it stop! Stop it! Stop it!
But even sometimes like little things like that can make you feel a little bit more normal, and that's what we've been looking for.
Any sense of normalcy at this time, in this stage of the game.
And let me just say this. Your channel has brought a lot of normalcy for me, actually, because ever since Josh hit me onto it, I've really dug what you put out because let me just wax your car a little, man. We're all about just try to stay as positive as possible, even beyond now. But I love the fact that you don't talk nasty on things. If you don't like it, you just don't like it, and you go beyond it. And then when you love something, you heap a lot of praise on it, and that's refreshing, and that's what I've really dug with what you've done so far with it. So nice work, Ken.
Thank you, man. Like that really means a lot because we're trying hard, me and the people that are involved with Sledgehammer Horror, to put out the absolute best type of stuff that we can put out, and we want to get the best guests we can possibly get. So, reaching out to you guys, it was awesome to get that immediate.
Like I say,
I was pretty stoked, man. I'm so hyped on Josh, man. He's such a good dude. Obviously, I've been a fan of his since the anniversary, and I love Burwanger. I love what it's so, and just him as a person, one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life, man.
It's really funny. I've known him for a really long time. In fact, when I was a senior in high school back in '93, I remember this younger kid coming up to my buddies and he just looked, I'm not going to say off, but he had an aura about him. And it was Josh Berwinger, and he had this little tape. He made it's not even a claymation, but it was a stop motion thing with a Barbie doll and a Michael Jackson doll. And he recreated this scene from Saved by the Bell. And from that moment forward, I'm like, I don't know what this kid is about, but I'm signing up for his newsletter. There was something about him. And ever since then, he's been in my life. And like Josh introduced me to Delamonte Delamore. He was that next level horror guy. But like you said, he's a good dude. He's just a good people.
Dude, and he'll still reach out to me. Hey, man, how you doing? How are things doing? I like what you did here. Here's where you can get a little better. He's so awesome at being constructive with his criticism as well.
Yeah, it's not. And again, it's kind of nice and refreshing when that happens.
Well, I appreciate it very much. And actually, I'm lucky today because we're talking about your guys' first horror movie. And I'm so lucky that it's the same movie. So we're going to be talking about
Halloween. The one, the only.
Mm-hmm. The night he
that
came
is so
home.
cool. So I'm in the minority here. I didn't see the first Halloween until way later on in life. I seen 5 first, and then I went and seen 3, which is still, honestly, today, still my favorite. I think Season of the Witch is absolute gold.
Yeah.
On Halloween every year, that's the movie me and my kids watch.
Oh, that's a great one.
Do you
have
put
a
on
mask
masks?
on
Yes,
and shit,
that's
Silver Shamrock, and
Oh, man, I would, but I'm telling you right now, there is no fucking way my daughter would ever do it. This would not happen at all. You know, even when she starts to hear that 8 days till Halloween, the Silver Shamrock song, she's like, nope, I'm out.
That's hilarious. What about those like cheap?
So we're
like,
talking about the
knockoff
original
ones?
Halloween. How old were you guys when you seen it for the first time? Do you remember?
Woo. Okay, so full 100% transparency. From what I've been told, my actual first horror movie that I saw was Exorcist, and I was like a month old apparently in the theater. So, but the one I first remember was Halloween, and I think I was maybe about 4 or 5, and I remember it vividly because it was on TV. It was a TV showing, and I was upstairs and I was looking down onto the front room, and my aunt and my mom were watching Halloween, and I was like, I don't know what they were watching. And it was at the part where he gets up, right? And then from there, the bump, 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 bump. I could feel my heart beat in the same time of this, and I was 100% terrified of what I was seeing, but I was so engrossed and encapsulated by it, I could not turn away. I was like, woo, and even when she's like falling down, like run, you know, was that the boogeyman? I'm still there like, as a matter of fact, it was, right? And so like ever since then, man, I've loved that movie. I think I can easily say that's probably one of my absolute favorite, one of the first and favorites. So
I was also way too young when I didn't even see it all the way through my first time. It's really weird. I could actually take you physically right now to the exact spot where I stood behind my uncle's chair. I was at my aunt and uncle's house in Stanley, Kansas. My mom and dad were visiting. They were all watching Halloween, and I think like Genius, this is when it had like its big TV debut on ABC, which was a huge thing at the time. I think that's when they added all that extra footage.
Night at the movies.
But I distinctly remember walking around the house and just hearing this scary music coming from the living room. And it was scary enough that I stayed away from it for a long time. But something about it finally drew me in, and I walked in, and I was kind of sneaking in behind my uncle's chair, and I kind of crept my head up. And it's at that exact moment where, and you were talking about Genius, where Lori falls over the railing, the shape comes to the top of the stairs, and you just get that shot, and then the dunt, dunt,
dunt.
And I was frozen, and just the encapsulation of all that music, to the buildup, and then seeing the shape, seeing the white face, hearing, Laurie Strode scream, it just
magical. It was fucking magical.
And I think like every one of us that are big into horror, there's that moment where you can either go, I'm going to go this way and just stay with the flowers, or you know what?
Right up in it full ham.
Let's have some fun with this. And ever since then, have totally embraced it. And like Genius said, I can easily say Halloween. If someone asks me my top 5, I'm always going to include Halloween. It could be number 1, it could be number 5, but it's always in there. It's always in there.
And the thing with Halloween, even because I've said it before, I'm not a huge Michael Myers guy. Some of the movies I think are good, but overall I think he's kind of boring, personally. But I think that without the first Halloween, we don't have 85% of the slashers that we have today.
No, I 100% agree with that.
The influence of that movie, and the influence of it is so big. People that have never seen the movie will hear the piano lick and know exactly what that is. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how huge this movie is. I mean, The Shape. Everybody knows The Shape. Even if they have never seen the movie, they know Michael Myers, and goddamn, it's something that even the newest, I like the remake. I thought the remake was fantastic. The 2018.
Yes, the 2018 one. Yes, I will agree. I was like, are we talking about the Rob Zombie one? Because I want to stay on a positive tip. I want to stay on a positive tip. So, the 2018.
I'm with you. I don't hate Rob Zombie. His movies are not for me. The Halloweens he did were not for me.
Right.
But respect to the guy, man. I mentioned this on a previous episode, but I feel for the Rob Zombie movies the way I feel for ICP's music. It's not for me, but I respect you, man. If you're going to have people out there willing to paint their faces and call themselves part of your family, you're doing something right for somebody. So I feel for Rob Zombie movies the way I do for their music. It's not for me, but I respect you because you're doing something right.
Anybody that's getting it's a whole bunch of people to pour like soda on themselves instantly has my respect.
Not just any soda.
And especially Faygo, man. I'm from Michigan. That's gold here, man. You don't waste Faygo. What are you doing?
That's a travesty. We've killed people for less.
Well, and it's really funny. Like you said, they've cultivated their audience. They know who they are.
And they're diehard too.
Yes. And they're
like horror fans. You can't tell them different, and more fucking power to them because their favorite band is their fucking favorite band.
There's no way you could tell them you don't respect what they're doing.
Right.
Their fans are so diehard. They would probably literally die for those guys. And you're doing something right. You may not appeal to me, but for me to say I don't respect you, that'd be lying.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's too easy for people just to sit back and go, if they don't understand it, it's
clowns. Like,
exactly.
Nah. It's whatever you may agree with them or not, or you might not like music. You might not even be a rap fan, So, but they are insanely popular, and for all intents and purposes, they're extremely socially conscious, because they're all about inclusion. They're all about keeping family together. They're all about everybody for everybody.
And they go beyond their normal genre. They've created a Western movie.
Horror films.
Big into wrestling. And I'm not an ICP fan, but I know all of these things about them. And the fact that they've gone beyond that, maybe we should just change this from the Halloween appreciation hour to just the ICP appreciation hour somehow.
but I've always been down with some clowns.
It's funny you brought up the movie because I'm not gonna lie, the not the one you're talking about, but
Big Money Hustlers.
The one they had where they were the cops, Big Money Hustlers, is easily in the top 5 funniest movies I've ever seen in my entire life, man.
Big Money Hustlers is way underappreciated. It's goofy, but it's pretty
funny.
Well, see, I went on a rap movie binge. So I got their first horror movie. I got Master P's I'm About It. I watched all this sort of like rappers turned actors movies, and I think I wasted 50% of my time. But 50% of my time is gold.
But was 50 Cent in any of those movies with the 50%?
No, this is before 50 Cent decided he wanted to be a serious actor.
Okay, that's movies. Fair. That's fair.
This is when he was 25 Cent.
Oh, good Lord. I was waiting for the bad pun. My apologies, Ken.
Another Nightmare Junkhead guarantee. You're going to get bad puns.
Usually.
I don't think there's such thing as a bad pun, man. I love it. So, back to Halloween. When you're thinking of this movie, what is the first scene that pops into your mind when you're thinking of it?
That's easy for me. When he comes up after being dispatched, because as much as iconic as the closet scene is, It's terrifying. But the reveal of him Undertakering it for the first time, when you first see that as a youngster, because if you see this before you see Undertaker and all that stuff, it's going to really impact you. After you see Undertaker, you're going to be like, he copied that from Undertaker, you know? But like, when I think of Halloween, I think of, you know, just instantaneously. And from there, the bump, 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 because his music, his theme is like him. It's slow, it's menacing, but eventually it's going to creep up and get you. So that's the scene that I think of when I think of Halloween.
I will. My answer will change every single day you ask me, but because you asked me today, the older I get, the more I come to appreciate older characters in movies. So the one you're at right now, Genius is in my head. The one I think immediately is the rare instance in Halloween when Loomis actually smiles, and it is after he messes with those kids, and he's like, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
And he's like,
and he has that brief little,
I'm such a card.
And he's been spouting all this terror and just doom and gloom throughout the entirety of the film. And then he's got that one little moment of,
I chuckled 6 times.
So that's for me. Anything with Loomis, but especially that scene when he's messing with little Lonnie. And even in the Halloween 2018, Lonnie gets mentioned.
He gets a shout out.
He gets that shout out, which I was like, yes,
Lonnie.
But yeah, for me,
and I don't know why this scene always stuck with me, but at the very end when he's talking to Jamie Lee Curtis and she says, "Was that the boogeyman?" Like, that scene has always stuck with me because as a kid, I had older cousins that always scared me with the boogeyman, and then when I finally seen this movie, I was like, "That's what these motherfuckers were talking about."
And it's the fact that it's a doctor, it's a man in like authority saying and validating your fears. As a matter of fact, the boogeyman is real. He was right there, and he's gonna fucking see you tonight. So good night, little one. And so it's like, and Loomis, stop it.
I think it's because when I just recently found this out within the last year, but when they wrote the Halloween series, it was supposed to be an anthology series, and every year was supposed to be based around different characters. That's why 3 was Season of the Witch, 4 was the Return of Michael Myers. In hindsight now, they definitely did the right thing going back to Michael Myers, but I just don't think that they could have ever topped what they had with 1 and 2. So going back, I mean, because I'm not a fan of the cult angle in the later Halloween movies, the Man in Black angle. I don't think you need to. That was one of my big problems with the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween. You don't have to give me a reason why this dude is bad. You don't have to give me a reason why this dude is scary. He is the Shape. He's pure evil. You know, he is the boogeyman. So I don't want to hear about a cult that turned him evil. I don't want to hear about his, you know, trailer trash mom and dad. I'll come over there and skull fuck you. You know, that to me is too much. I loved how in part 1 it was just he was an evil kid. He fucking killed his sister. Then he got out and he just kept fucking going. Yeah. You know, so I love the fact that they went back because another one, I'm a big fan of Halloween H2O. Yep. I think that, you know, that has a lot of Scream influence to it. And I think Wes Craven really revitalized the horror genre with Scream. If you look at the movies that came out the 2 years before Scream and the 2 years after, you can see what a difference Scream had on the horror genre. And H2O was absolutely amazing. And then they shit out Resurrection with, I mean, I'm surprised you didn't bring that up with your hip hop Busta Rhymes Kung Fu.
I don't consider that one a hip hop movie just because Busta Rhymes is. First of all, okay, I 100% agree with you that we didn't need white trash Michael Myers and we didn't need cultist. But if I was to choose which backstory I'd prefer, at least with the cultist, it makes sense why he's like unstopping.
Sure.
Because I've known a lot of people with some fucked up families and they don't go on a killing spree. But as for like, I forgot where we were going, what I was going with this.
I actually had a little thing about Scream here I was going to talk about there.
No, I didn't watch the Busta Rhymes. First of all, I don't know. Michael Myers kind of lost a little bit for me once he got beat up by Busta Rhymes. I'm sure Busta Rhymes is a very formidable person and he looks like he's a brawler, right? But like they should have went almost a Jason Manhattan route where he's like
with the boxing.
on the roof, and then finally like trick or treat, motherfucker, and then Michael Myers takes off his head. You know, that would have made a bit more like sense to me. But yeah,
that's fair.
No, I agree. Michael Myers, I think, is probably, he definitely deserves to be on there. Although, it's going back to what you said, I think they did make a wise decision by doing, okay, here's Michael, now here's Season of the Witch, who tried something new, and here is now the return. I still would have liked to see the anthology. I still would have liked to see like what stories they have tell, because it's John Carpenter. You know, he's got some fucked up shit going on in there. So like, I would love to see his takes.
Well, I think anthology movies, you're talking Creep Show, The Twilight Zone.
Yep.
Anthology movies are the shit. They are my favorite subgenre of horror. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can have one shitty big net in there.
Yeah. Wait 5 minutes and something new.
Fucking movie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
What were you going to say about Scream? Now I'm curious.
Well, we had a chance. We just started this series here at Screenland called Friday Night Frights, and every Friday at 9:30 we're screening a frightful film. And this last Friday we did Scream, and
still holds up.
Still holds up.
An audience. Still terrifies an audience.
And I even remember back in 1996 seeing it in the theater, and I was kind of explaining when we introduced it, that opening scene terrified me like no other film had at that point. And I've been chasing that fright dragon ever since. But what got me in my original screening of Scream in the theater, I'm freaked out, having a great time being afraid. And then they start analyzing the Halloween scene, but they keep letting the music play. So I've got this new movie scaring me with this Ghostface killer. And then they add the Halloween score on top of everything. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? This is like a feared turducken.
Yeah,
like you just keep...
City's walking in the house and you hear, dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
Look behind you, kid. And then all of that. And then you're laughing. And it's...
Meanwhile, bump. Dun.
While you're talking about that scene, this shows the genius of Wes Craven. He's scaring you with that scene. However, he's making it very meta because Jamie Kennedy plays the character. And he's saying, Jamie, look behind you, Jamie. Yep. He's behind you.
Meanwhile, the guy's behind him. Meanwhile, the audience is saying, look behind you, Jamie. Look behind you. It's almost like a call and response echoey thing. It is pretty
Wes Craven's a genius. And that started with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. If you watch Wes Craven's New Nightmare, you get a lot of that meta that turned into Scream. And I recently did a top 5 favorite horror franchises, and Scream's my number 1. I think the weakest Scream in the franchise was 3.
Yes.
And it's still not a terrible movie. It's just the thing about Scream 3 that gets me is that voice changer, man. Like how they can mimic other people's voices.
Yeah. Like
how the fuck does that, that's the only thing that really bothered me. And then the ending, how the guy was like, I'm the director. Like that really took away from Billy and Stu to me. Mm-hmm. But I love Scream 4. I thought Scream 4 was fucking awesome.
Me too. Emma Roberts was wonderful in that movie. And I'm looking forward to Scream 5. I mean, I really am.
Absolutely.
Because I was left with not a total bitter taste in my mouth, but I was like, after 3, I was like, man, Scream 4, I wonder if they're going to keep doing how they're doing. And like, again, diminishing returns. But when I went to see 4 in the theater, I was like, this movie is great. This is like almost Scream 2 good. Yeah. So like, I was really impressed. Did you get a chance to catch the series?
I watched the first couple episodes. I wasn't impressed. I got a couple buddies that have told me, dude, go back and watch it. But I don't know. I watched the first couple and I
couldn't get into the first 2. I couldn't get into the first 2. But from what I've heard, I've been watching some horror TV shows now. And like, from what I find out, like for the most part, most horror shows are almost going to be slow burns because they have to have the first 2 or 3 episodes to get you the character. But by episode 3, like for example, I was watching Nosferatu recently, that new one with Joe Hill. And I watched it when it first came out. And I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, and I stopped it. I came back about a year later before the second season. I'm like, I'll give it a shot. Watched the first 3 episodes. Like, this show is fucking great. It took like those 3 episodes to get to it. So I'm kind of wanting to go back and see Scream. But I think a better series for Scream would have been Scream Queens.
Yeah.
With Jamie Lee and all that. That seemed a bit more meta and a lot more fun. Because the Scream movies are fun.
They are.
They're just fun movies.
They are. And see, like, when I look at horror franchises, that's what I look for. How much fun I have, how scared I am, how weak the later parts are. Because the only reason, because Child's Play is my number 2. The only reason Child's Play is not my number one is Seed of Chucky. I can't stand. I think that movie's awful.
I will agree with you on that one. What did you think of the remake?
Don't kill me. I fucking adore the remake.
Me too.
Love the remake so
remake
much.
Was so good,
dude. And here's one thing, because I did a review on it. In the review, one of the things I said was negative about the movie was there was no Charles Lee Ray, there was no Hide the Soul. But now that I think about it and I've really digested it a lot, I'm so glad that they didn't do that. I think them not putting Charles Lee Ray in this really is a homage to Brad Dourif. It's a respect thing. Like, we're not even going to try to attempt that because that's you. That's who you are. We just want to go on a full-on reboot, not a remake.
Yeah.
And I think the kills in this one are great. I think the cast in this one is great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the idea that Chucky is almost a good guy, I love that. Oh, your stepdad is a dickhead? Well, I'm going to fucking kill him for you. Fuck that guy.
This is for Tupac. Yeah. No.
I thought, he's watching Texas Chainsaw too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Chucky will hunt. And so
yes, I love the reboot. I thought it was fantastic, but I'm not one of those people that goes out and bashes remakes just because they're remakes. I think if you make a bad remake, that doesn't take away from the original to me. It's just you did a bad remake. Yeah. If you do a fantastic remake, that doesn't take away from the first one to me. You just nailed a fantastic remake.
You are,
look at Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead 2004
was wonderful.
Phenomenal remake.
Wonderful
Absolutely
movie.
Beautiful remake. But then you look at Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought that was garbage. I don't like Freddy the Child Molester. I don't like the only thing I liked about that movie was the micronaps. I thought that was a really cool addition to the series. But I didn't mind Jackie Earle Haley, or I think that's his name. Yeah. I think he did good, but that's like trying to get someone else to play Rambo. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. No, I think, for example, you're 100% correct. Remakes are either 100% hit or 100% miss. For example, the Dawn of the Dead remake is great. The Day of the Dead remake, not so much. But funny you're talking about remakes and how you can have a good remake on our show, Nightmare Junkhead. We're doing a whole month of more remakes that we like, because I think we did a remake month 2 years ago.
No, we weren't doing months back then.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah. So so we're doing all sorts of stuff. We talked about The Fly recently, the Texas Chainsaw remake,
Not the Living Dead.
Living Dead.
We've got the Maniac remake. We're talking this Friday.
So ones that we think are way decent compared to the original.
But much like you, we fall firmly in that camp that it doesn't erase the original. The original will always exist.
If anything, a remake might somebody backwards engineer and seek out the original and either love it better or worse. So a remake, in essence, is a good thing.
And that's one thing that really kind of pissed me off about Child's Play, because you have Jennifer Tilly oh, I'm not going to go and support this new Child's Play. Bitch, you supported Seed of Chucky. What the fuck do you have to lose?
Yeah.
It's
come on.
Bad. I mean, if you like Seed of Chucky, cool, viewers, cool, but I would much rather see 1, 2, or 3, or even
and
Bride.
With Child's Play, that's the same thing. You're talking about remakes. Even you're in a win-win if you're talking about remakes, because if the remake sucks, you can be like, hey, our original one was so much better. Yeah. But if the remake's really good, you can be like, hey, you thought that was good, come back and watch our original one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure we kind of froze on our side. Are we still moving on you?
No, we're frozen.
Okay.
Let's see if we can unfreeze it. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Hold on, I should just have to refresh.
Schwom, as we all go down.
Yeah, we are definitely frozen on my side. I'll keep talking though. I'll just try to fix this with the magic of editing later. So back to Halloween. If you guys are going to choose your favorite death in the movie, what's your pick?
In the OG?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've seen Halloween easily dozens of times. In fact, last year, I think we saw Halloween 4 times in the theater between hosting and all that stuff. But I think So to surprise me about this movie is very rare. And this last screening, I got a surprise. The Annie kill when he's in the car and he's choking her out. For the longest time, I thought he was just choking her out. But it wasn't until like this recent when I saw that he actually slit her throat too.
Oh, see, I'll have to watch that again because I never even picked up on that.
Yeah. So like when it goes, boom, the musical sting, that one in there, that's him slicing Annie's throat. So not only does he choke her, but he like gives her Colombian necktie as well. And so I think the fact that I didn't realize that for like 40 years, I have to say that might have to be my favorite kill.
See,
and so
I got to go back to when it comes to the original Halloween. I love the first kill, man. When I was a little kid, I got to see boobs and someone get stabbed.
that's never a bad thing to see.
Like as a little kid, like, oh, okay.
POV boobs.
All right. Well, like I said, we are having technical difficulties here, guys. So I am going to give our skull count real quick. If you guys are ranking this movie, skulls, scale is 0 to 5, 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. What's your ranking of this movie?
Oh, -3. This Halloween fucking sucks. No, trick or treat, motherfucker. No, no, 5.
We jumped right on to Resurrection.
Right? No, 5.5. 5.5 all day. I mean, like, that's just how it goes. I don't know what any more I could say about this movie that would enhance it and make anything better. I think I hate to use the term almost a perfect movie, but really Halloween is almost a fucking perfect movie. I mean, it's tight, it's lean, it's mean. There's nothing wasted, you know? Like even the background shots when you see Michael Myers like looking both ways at a 4-way stop before he drives past Loomis and Sheriff Brackett. So it's like, it's things like that. Oh, we're back on.
Yeah.
Okay. So you missed a couple of questions, dude.
Oh, I was hearing those questions. Come on now. I'm a constant professional here.
So now that we're back, hopefully it kept rolling because it's done that before. It's frozen on our ends, but it kept rolling. Hopefully it kept rolling for you guys. If not, I'll put a little disclaimer page on there or something. But give me yours. Your favorite kill on the movie?
I'm going to have to say Genius mentioned Annie. That's a good one. Obviously, anything with PJ Souls is always a good thing as well.
Anything you like?
I'm not going to get creeps and nostalgia here. I'm actually going to probably go with something like Bob. Bob was actually always bothered me because it was so sudden. He had just scored coitus, so he's feeling good. And he's also one of the few people that actually gets stabbed in the movie. Like
he's the one that gets hung on the wall, right?
Yes, he is the one that becomes Myers' muse in many ways because then the shape takes the step back, he gets that little head tilt, and it becomes just crazy things.
So, and now I got to get your ranking. 0 to 5 skulls. What are you ranking it?
Oh, come on now. Of course this goes 5. This is the reason why John Carpenter is John Carpenter. As you mentioned, this is the reason we have so many wonderful horror films in the 80s. This is the reason why Siskel and Ebert loved Halloween and they hated horror
else.
And if you can create a film that Siskel and Ebert like and it's still terrifying people 40 some odd years later, more than 40 years, people are writing dissertations on it. We're still talking about it. People are still discovering it. And I mean, it can get nothing less than 5 skulls without a doubt.
And they're still remaking the damn thing. I mean, you got Halloween Kills coming out next year, and then Halloween Ends the year after that, and it's still making money. And they're still. I think Halloween 2018 is a top 3 Halloween movie. To be honest with you, I thought it was. That good.
I've loved it. I would go 1, 3, 2, 2018 if I was to rank them.
I got to put 3 on top, man. I honestly, I've said this on probably every episode I've done. I'm sorry to everybody that are faithful watchers that are tired of hearing me saying it. I'm going to remake Season of the Witch someday. I think that if it wouldn't have been Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, it was just Season of the Witch, I think it would have taken off. It would have been, sequel after sequel.
Oh, yeah.
So I love Season of the Witch, man.
I think Season of the Witch fell in the same problem that Friday 5, not my Jason, not my Michael. And so like that's the problem. Oh, there's no Michael Myers. Well, fuck that. I'm not gonna Halloween. First of all, anybody
That's
who
that's what, if it didn't have Halloween 3 before Season of the Witch, this movie would be looked at a shit ton different even today.
I agree. And I hate to like berate other horror fans because I try not to, but if you don't watch a movie because it doesn't have a killer in it, it doesn't have the killer you're expecting in it. If you don't watch a horror movie because it might have subtitles, if you don't watch a horror movie, or if you don't watch a horror movie all the way through, if you watch a movie for like 10 minutes and then bounce through it, you're missing the point. Halloween doesn't get going on until 20-minute mark. Some of the best movies, the best horror movies, are slower burns. You have to wait for a little bit to get that payoff. Some of them like, oh, I shut it off, or I refuse to watch Child's Play, or all that. It's like you're doing not only the horror genre a disservice, because if they don't make money, they're going to stop making movies. And two, you're doing yourself as a disservice as a fan, because if you don't watch that Child's Play just because it doesn't have Charles Lee Ray, you're missing a fantastic movie. And so, like,
bingo. And
there's just something.
I think the new Child's Play is in my top. It's probably top 3 of all the Child's Play movies. To be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree and maybe hear that argument. But yeah. So like Halloween, I am full on board for your Halloween 3 remake.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna happen, and I'm someday you're gonna see Sledgehammer Horror presents Season of the Witch.
Right. You just got to find a Tom Atkins style with the big mustache.
I'm frozen again on my end. I don't know if you guys are. Hopefully for you guys out there watching, we're not. I want to tell you guys, there you go. I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. I've really had a great time. Hopefully we can do this again. I got a couple new segments coming up here soon. Sequel study, where we talk about the difference between a sequel and the original and what we think is better and why. And then I'm going to have Coffee and Killers. I'll send you guys a Sledgehammer Horror coffee cup, and we'll dissect this slasher film. And then I got another new one coming up. Shit, man. I'm trying to get all these done at once, but I got so many new ones that are going on in my brain that I'm trying to get down on paper and get everybody involved in. So I would absolutely adore to have you guys back. I had a great time.
I had a blast too.
I'll have all of their info in the description so you guys can check out everything they do. Again, thank you guys so much. It really does mean a lot that you guys came out for me.
We're so happy that you invited me. I invited both of us. I was trying to say I was getting my sentences mixed up. I had a fucking blast on this talking about Halloween, and like this is great.
Yeah, no, sincerely, congratulations on the channel and continued success. And also the invite goes right back at you.
If you want,
we will have you on the show sometime
on
because we love talking horror with people that love talking horror.
Question for all of us. I got a question. We were talking about the influence of this movie, how we both all really enjoyed this movie. And we talked about earlier, without this movie, we wouldn't have the boom of slashers that we had. So what do you think we would have if we didn't have Halloween? Would we have a boom of Giallo? Would we have a lot of like Satan movies like from the 70s?
Honestly, I think we'd have went the way of the creature, man, because I think Jaws would have been the Halloween.
I like that because I love good old-fashioned creature features. And so, like, I'm glad we got Halloween, but I'm always down for some more creature movies.
I think Tremors is one of the most underrated franchises in history.
100% correct on that one. We have a winner. So
I do believe
maybe that's what we can do. We'll do sequel study. We'll talk about Tremors 2 compared to Tremors 1.
That'll be perfect. Always getting penetration with the elephant gun.
Always penetration with the elephant gun.
All right, man. Well, there you go. I'm going to email you guys when we're done, try to set something up. Everybody else, thank you so much for watching. This is Sledgehammer Horror. Let's talk horror. Remember, guys, stay what you are. Have a great night, everybody.